The movie Child's Play is a horror film based on Tyler Burton Smith's screenplay. It portrays a family frightened by a high-tech doll that becomes self-aware and homicidal. So let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, Movie Story. Today we'll be doing a recap of the movie Child's Play. Before getting into our video, make sure to like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to avoid missing updates. Spoiler alert ahead, folks. The film begins with an advertisement for Buddi dolls created by prominent tech developer Kaplan Industries. The Buddis may link to the owner's electronic system and adapt their daily activities to a system. The manager of the Kaplan factory in Vietnam chastises one of his employees for slacking off on the job. He fires but orders him to complete the doll he's been working on. Out of spite, the employee instructs the doll to disable all of its safety features. After distributing the doll, the employee leaps out a window to die. In Chicago, we meet Karen Barclay as she works at Zmart, where a customer complains that the Buddi doll he ordered isn't blonde as his child desired. Karen says it's because the doll they're seeking is the unreleased Buddi 2. Karen returns home to her hearing-impaired son, Andy. They've moved into a new apartment, and Andy feels a little lonely. Making matters worse, Karen is dating Shane, whom Andy regards as a jerk. Detective Mike Norris, who lives with his mother, Doreen, is also introduced to Karen and Andy. A customer returns a malfunctioning Buddi doll at work because its eyes are burning red. Karen's supervisor intends to return the doll so it can be compacted, but Karen wishes to keep it for Andy. When Wes refuses to relinquish it, Karen blackmails him by reminding him that he cheated on his wife, so he gives it to her. Karen brings the doll home as an early birthday present for Andy, but he's uninterested. When Andy turns on the doll, it begins to converse with him. He attempts to give it a name, but the doll refers to itself as Chucky. Andy is having difficulty convincing Chucky to perform his functions. He misunderstands directions and unwittingly freaks Andy off by waking him up in the middle of the night. On the other hand, Andy discovers that he can communicate to Chucky about his feelings about his mother dating Shane, and Chucky develops a true bond with Andy. Chucky does so, but his recording device also replays Andy's statements about Shane, which irritates him and lands Andy in problems with Karen. Andy's cat Rooney scratches him on one occasion. When Chucky notices that Rooney had injured Andy, he begins strangling the cat until Andy stops him. Andy befriends Fallon and Pug. They hang around after discovering that Chucky is distinct from the other Buddi dolls. The kids are watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre when Chucky begins to emulate Leatherface's moves by approaching Pug with a knife menacingly, forcing Andy to intervene once more to prevent Chucky from hurting anyone. When Andy gets home from school one afternoon, he discovers that Chucky stabbed Rooney to death because he saw him as a threat to Andy. The youngster sobs as he throws his cat down the garbage chute and has to hide the fact that the doll murdered the cat from Karen. Chucky tries to make amends by scaring Shane once more, but as he replays Andy calling Shane an asshole, the guy walks to Andy's room to confront him about leaving Chucky around and to voice his problem like a man. Andy is left crying and wishing Shane would leave him alone. Chucky hears the request and his eyes light crimson, forming a menacing smirk. After bickering with Karen, Shane returns home, where it's discovered that he's already married with 2 children. He walks outside to take down some Christmas lights, only to have Chucky push his ladder over, causing him to land on his feet and shatter his legs. With the lights wrapped around him, Chucky grabs a tiller and turns it on, attracting Shane and scalping him. Chucky then goes on to slash Shane. Mike and his partner arrive at the scene the next morning to find Shane's face missing. Karen is subsequently informed, and she discovers information about his other family. Andy receives yet another unpleasant surprise when he enters his room and discovers that Chucky has left him a melon with Shane's peeled face as a gift. He replays the sound of Andy wishing Shane was gone, so he convinces Fallon and Pug that Chucky must be exterminated. They restrain Chucky, and Andy extracts his main core before disposing of him. They then attempt to dispose of the Shane melon by wrapping it in gift paper and tossing it down the garbage chute. Unfortunately, they're noticed by Karen. When Andy mentions that it's a gift for Doreen, Karen offers to accompany them to give it to her. But before she can unwrap it, Andy tells her that he would like for her to open it on his birthday in a few days, to which Doreen agrees. Chucky is discovered by the building's electrician, Tom Gabe, who takes the doll to his little workshop and installs a new core inside Chucky, intending to resell them for a large sum of money. When the electrical things in the room begin to flicker, Gabe begins to ogle at Karen in the bathtub. Chuckle begins to reawaken and can hack into other Kaplan technological devices. He begins to harass Gabe, eventually getting him to hang above a buzzsaw. Chucky turns up the heat on Gabe's pole until it becomes so hot that Gabe falls groin first onto the saw and is dismembered. Andy subsequently discovers that another youngster from his building, Omar, has discovered Chucky, although he refers to him as Chode. Andy tries to drag him away from Omar, but when he refuses, they battle until they're yanked apart. Andy locates Omar's phone and uses the Buddi app to monitor his friends. Pug has expressed reservations to Fallon about being friends with Andy. He sees through Chucky's eyes. Chucky is close and overhears Doreen referring to Andy as her new best friend, but she's there. When everyone else is gone, Andy manages to get Shane's melon out of the flat and throw it away down the garbage chute. Doreen goes outdoors later and is scooped up by a self-driving Kaplan automobile. She's driven around the supermarket until the automobile loses control due to Chucky's manipulation. He crashes the automobile before breaking in and stabbing Doreen in the chest. Mike eventually discovers his mother's death and sobs before learning that the Shane melon was located in the chute and recognizes the wrapping paper surrounding it. Karen discovers that Andy stole Omar's phone and tries to persuade her that Chucky is responsible for all the recent episodes, but she doesn't believe him and sends him to work. At the same time, Fallon and Pug learn about Doreen's death and think she was murdered. Customers have gathered at Zedmart as the Buddi 2 is set to be released. They rush in like it's Black Friday as the dolls go on sale, but when Wes emerges in a Buddi outfit, Chucky stabs him in the neck. His mask falls off and his blood splatters all over a terrified little girl. The store lights go out as Chucky takes over all the electronics. He dispatches drones to pursue people, and one of them slashes into Wes. The other customers begin to fear, and the other Buddi dolls come to life. He quickly realizes Chucky is to blame, but Mike is killed by a drone after rescuing one of the children. After taking out several dolls, Andy is confronted by Chucky, who claims that if he can't be his friend, no one can. He then discloses that he has Karen bound and intends to hang her. As Chucky approaches Andy, the boy begins to sing the Buddi song, which Chucky had previously performed, to calm him down. It works long enough for Andy to push Chucky off him and go save his mother, but Chucky rises and attacks Andy again. Andy manages to free Karen before taking Chucky's knife and inserting it into his core. When Andy goes to see his mother, Chucky lunges at him and is shot by Mike. Karen then kills the nasty doll by tearing off his head. As his buddies demolish Chucky's remains in an alley, Andy, Karen, and Mike are attended to by medics. Kaplan's CEO makes an announcement about the programming of the Buddi dolls. The dolls are recalled and returned to storage. Suddenly, one of the dolls' eyes begin to glow red. And that concluded this off-the-beat movie. That's all for today, guys. Don't hesitate to like the video and leave a comment telling us how much you enjoyed this movie. Watch other exciting movie recaps like Venom and Jungle Cruise. We'll see you in the following video. Till then, goodbye.